You all ready to go? All right. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Oh, are you going? Hey, where are you going? I'm taking the older kids out to lunch to check out how they did on their goals. And since Dove won last week's goals, she got to choose where we go out to lunch today. It's actually hard scoring these goals because I see the kids are really they're emotionally invested in them, and for a while if I gave them a bad score below a 5 out of 10, some of the kids were crying about it. So it's easy to want to inflate the score and to give them higher scores, even though I don't think that they did that good of a job. But I'm starting to think that the most loving thing I can do is just to really be honest, and if it's not passing, to give it a fair score and watch them improve. And I've noticed that they're improving and they're getting better scores, but I think they're only doing that because I've been honest and giving them kind of the hard news that no, I think you can do a better job at that.
Who needs counseling? Alright, love you, bye. I called Dove because on my way out I felt like I snapped at her and just said, Dove, this is what you need to do, bye. So I felt like if I died in a car crash right now, I wouldn't want that to be my last thing I said to her. So I called her and apologized and told her I appreciated everything she does. She said, oh, you snapped at me?
We're just trying to relax after our counseling.
For some reason I feel like I left with more questions than I came in with. Or maybe that's not true. Maybe it's just, it still just felt unresolved to me, some issues. And maybe, I don't know if I just had unrealistic expectations that he would solve them for us.
One practical tip I got today was there's a friend that I want to talk to about something they're doing that I don't really like. And what I would normally say is hey, I think you're doing this wrong. I think you should stop because it's hard for you or it's bad for you. But our therapist used this language of stay in your own yard. And he says there's more power in staying in your own yard because it's more likely that the other person's going to listen. If I say, hey, when you do this, I don't really like it. It makes me feel like this. So really just talking about myself. And letting the person come to their own conclusions about why they do what they're doing or what they should do about stopping or starting, but just being very honest about where I'm at and what it's doing to me.
I didn't want to go running today, so Ben and I had sex instead. And now we're just out here smoking a cigar. debriefing our sex time together. We've had a sex schedule for a lot of years. Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. But lately, because of our sexual revolution, we've kind of just been having sex whenever the hell we want. I think it's cool to have different things when you need them. When you need a schedule, when a schedule helps, I think that's great. And when it doesn't help anymore, it's fine to toss it out.
I'm a little bit nervous to talk.
Yeah?
Because there's some things that are like disappointing me. Sorry, I'm talking to you guys, but Cammie's actually like right there. So it's like, I'm talking to you, but I'm kind of talking to her. Vlog life is so hard. But there are some things that I was disappointed in, which I think is actually a result of the way we've changed sexually. Like in the past, it was just like, all sex is good sex. If I got it, it was like, that's good enough, shut up and stop complaining. Now, I think we're moving to a different level where that's not really our challenge, is to agree on the frequency. And it actually hasn't gotten worse, it's gotten so much better, but now I'm able to see things that I'm like, whoa, I actually do have preferences and feelings in these areas. And I'm actually afraid to share them because it's very scary and vulnerable feeling to express some of this stuff. I've never expressed it to anyone else before because I always thought my problem was just like not having enough sex. And now that I get all the sex I want, I'm like, there's like the deeper stuff actually. Cammie's open to hearing it, at least she always has been. And I actually believe that it's better to be honest. I'm not saying she's doing anything wrong. It's better for her and me if I don't just fake something and say, oh, that was just amazing. Because sex is really just this medium. It's like a conversation, and I want to enjoy it in the future, and I want Cammie to enjoy it in the future. So I think I actually owe it to her, to be honest. All right, let's bring it in.
I want to confuse people sometimes and like go on the other side.
7, you could put 20 minutes later before this shot. Okay, so we just talked, and I'm really happy with how that went.
We're getting into the discipline of talking about our sexual experiences with each other. And it is a discipline because it doesn't come naturally, I think, for either one of us, but especially me. And it's like with any other communication, we experience things differently because we're different people. It's good because I think we're seeing how each one of us can accept the other person.
Which is so amazing. The reason why you guys, like, we talk about sex so much, first of all, it's like an important topic to us. But in terms of like for a vlog, like, I actually, a part of me dreads like, oh crap, I gotta put sex in the title again. People are gonna think we're just like trying to do it for the attention. But I actually think it's so important. If you look at advertising, or what's interesting, sex videos are not popular on YouTube right now, mostly because of not being able to get advertisers, but it's still probably the most popular searched phrase in the world on the internet, and there's a reason why. It's important, it's how you make babies, and it's how you have a certain degree of fun and connect with another human. I just could not find good information as a teenager that had any depth to it. Like, we've talked before, like, I felt like the information I got was like, wait till marriage. And I was like, great, that's solid. That's it? Like,
what do I do in the meantime?
I know. And like, why? Like, just because you're afraid of pregnancy, or, you know?
Or you think sex is bad, or?
The most valuable thing that I have with Cammie, we've had our like sexual excitement periods and time periods, and that's really cool to me. But the coolest thing right now is being able to talk to her afterwards and be completely honest about what I enjoyed, about what was scary, about what was hard, about what I didn't like. And it feels silly sometimes to share these things. But you know, the excitement only goes so far, and this is what I wish I would have heard as a teenager, is like, this stuff, we've earned it. You know, we're 17 years in now to marriage, to sexual activity that was at least full blown. because we screwed around a bit in our engaged period. But I feel like we're just getting to the point where we're like really using the safety that we have.
And seeing the benefits of that.
Yeah, and this is what drives me crazy about pornos or romantic scenes in movies, that they like meet and there's just like all this electricity and there's like having the time of their life. I'm just like, that is so shallow. Like, maybe it's physically fun for a bit, 10 minutes, maybe an hour, maybe even like 10 days or 10 months. But there's this talk that Tim Keller gave at Google, and he was explaining marriage, and he was talking about what makes marriage so unique, or monogamy so unique, is what people call love. It's really just a version of like salesmanship. Like, you have to sell yourself. You always have to put your best self forward. So even in the bedroom sexually, when you're not married, you're always like trying to impress the other person, because the fact of the matter is, they can just walk away tomorrow. So if they decide you're not good enough, or the pros outweigh the cons somewhere else, why would they stay? But what our contract of marriage and monogamy has done for us is, it said, okay, you're the only one for me. And we've had to figure it out, because most of the time it wasn't as satisfying as you would see in the movies. But now, we have something far more valuable to me than electrical sex, which is safety. And that safety can only come from knowing that she will never leave. And that she's been through 17 years of good sex, crappy sex, no sex, a lot of sex. And to me, I wouldn't trade that for anything now. But in my younger years, I would be like, hey, can I f that? I'll take that then. That has two legs. It didn't matter to me, because it was just all about the fun. And I didn't know there was really anything else worth holding out for. So while I technically stayed monogamous, my dreams and my hopes were about like these wild sexual fantasies that I had been exposed to that were just like, you know, very shallow.
And we were able to get to this point of feeling safe and after 17 years of marriage, because it was just him and I. We're kind of forced to kind of like, okay, like we got to work this out. You're kind of forced to have to grow. And I mean, you can choose not to, but your marriage is probably gonna suck then. But we were kind of forced to kind of grow and like, I don't know, sharpen each other.
Yeah, well, the decision is about who's the right person before where's the best sex. And after you decide who the right person is, everything else follows. So I know there's teenagers watching this, like, you know, I guess actually I really hope there are, that are hearing a message that I wish I would have heard, which is the sex you see on TV is fake. But the possibilities out there are actually far better than that. But you're never gonna see them on a movie. You'll never see this couple develop 17 years or 25 years of deep romance and then see it pay off like emotionally by sharing their feelings with each other. That doesn't make a good movie, unfortunately. Or maybe it does, but no one's thought of it. I could get rich right now. Yeah. We'll call it Fight for Together, and we'll release one episode every day. It's time for dinner. 7 made it.
We talked to the kids at dinner about the fake kind of sex and love that you see in movies and in books and whatnot versus the real kind of love and intimacy that you can have in a marriage, and what are the differences between the two, and how the benefit of the marriage being the safety you feel because you have a covenant with each other and you're not going to leave. Ben and I talked about our own marriage and how we've worked really hard, 17 years, to develop safety and intimacy in our marriage, and that it's like way better than what is shown to you on movies, and way better than sex outside of marriage and one night stands and